A very good morning, one and all. Now let us discuss some more topics from computer informatics practice. And the topic that I am going to discuss with you all is about the introduction of computer system, particularly the input devices and output devices. Before we move forward with the topic, let us recall whatever we have learned in the previous video. We have learned that a computer is an electronic device which takes input from the user, processes it, and gives the output or the required results in the form of display or print. So in the previous video, we learned about a computer being an electronic device that works on the instructions given by the user as inputs and then process it and give the output information as required. We also learned the working principle or the IPO cycle of a computer. IPO stands for input, process, output. Here you can see we have some of the input devices such as keyboard, mouse, camera and mic. Then the CPU, which is a central processing unit, and the output devices such as monitor, speaker and printer. So a computer has two types of devices, which helps the user to enter data into the computer and allows the computer to display results of the processed data as required by the user. And here is the example. So we can see in this example a keyboard which is an input device. Suppose we enter the data, that means we provide some information through this keyboard. That information will be processed by the CPU and it will be displayed in the monitor. Next, that data that is being processed by the CPU will be displayed in the monitor, and if you want to take printout, we can do that by using another output device which is a printer. By enter data, we mean reading the input from the user using some input devices, and then the results of the processed data will be displayed as required. Input devices. Input devices are computer hardware that takes data and programs and put them in a form that the computer can process. So an input device is a piece of computer hardware. Computer hardware are the physical parts of a computer which are used to provide data and control signals to the processing system, which is the CPU. Instructions that are being provided by the users are the commands that we want the computer to compute. For example, a keyboard will not strike the keys by itself. There must be a user striking those keys. Then only the information being provided through the keyboard will be read into the machine for further process. So, whatever we enter through the input device, such as the keyboard, are known as the instructions. Example are keyboard, mouse, light pen, joystick, barcode reader, OMR, OCR, and so on. So these are the example of input devices. Input devices allow the users to enter data into the computer. That means to read input. We human beings send input to the brain through our sense organs such as the eyes, ear, tongue, skin, and the nose. Similarly, input is being given to the brain of the computer, which is the CPU. Remember, the brain of the computer is the CPU, or the central processing unit. To interact with the computer, be it at home, at schools, universities, or organizations, industries, banks, or scientific research, and so on, apart from users, we need the input devices which allows us to enter information to the computer. So apart from the user, we need input devices. That means there should be a user who is using the input devices to enter the information to the processor to process those information and to display using output devices. Keyboard. So I have been mentioning the word keyboard for many times. Do you know what is a keyboard? A keyboard is the set of typewriter like keys that enables you to enter data into a keyboard. The keys on a keyboard are alphanumeric, punctuation, function, and special keys. A keyboard is one of the essential input devices that's used to interact with the computer. Key strike on a keyboard is the most fundamental piece of information sent to the CPU. So whenever a key is being struck from a keyboard, it will be sent to the CPU for processing. A mouse is a handheld two-dimensional pointing device designed to sit on the one hand of the user. So a mouse is a pointing device, and it is another essential input device used to interact with the computer. It detects movement and sends corresponding signal to the CPU when the mouse buttons are pressed. So we can see here the mouse buttons. There are two types of the mouse button. One is a left button, then the right button, and also we have the scroll wheel. Clicks with the mouse is the most fundamental information sent to the CPU. So whenever the mouse buttons are pressed or clicks, then that signal will be sent to the CPU. A light pen is a pointing device which is used to draw lines or curves on the screen. Light pen is a pointing device similar to a pen. It is used to select displayed menu items or draw pictures on the monitor screen. The light sensitive diode at the tip of the pen will sense the light coming from the screen. When the tip of a light pen is moved over the monitor screen and the pen button is pressed, then its photocell sensing element detects the screen locator and sends the corresponding signal to the CPU. It is mostly used for graphics work. Joystick is also a pointing device which is used to move the cursor position on the monitor screen. A joystick is similar to a mouse except that with a mouse the cursor stops moving as soon as you stop moving the mouse. Joysticks are used mostly for computer games, but they are also used for other applications. And it can move in all directions. Scanner is an input device which works more likely as a photocopy machine. A scanner scans the image from the top to the bottom, one line at a time, and transfers it to the computer as a series of bits or a bitmap. Scanner capture image from the source. Suppose we are scanning an image, then the image is the information that we enter directly into the memory. That means the scanner are used to enter the information directly to the memory. Scanner works like a Xerox machine. It scans the image from top to bottom and then it converts the information into digital pulses which can be manipulated by the computer. Barcode readers are electronic readers that read the values or quantities printed on the product and put in the form of vertical bars. Barcode readers are also called the price scanner, used to capture information in a barcode by directing a beam of light across the barcode. You must have seen barcodes that are being printed on groceries, cosmetics, paper bag, and so on. OMR, or the optical mark recognition, is the technology of electronically extracting intended data from marked fields such as checkboxes and fill in fields or printed forms. So OMR reads the pencils or pen marks made in a form. They are used to read questionnaires, multiple choice questions in the forms of lines of shaded areas. OMR scan a printed form and reads predefined position and records where marks are made on the form. Suppose we mark using pen or pencil in a form. That mark can be scanned by using the OMR technology. Suppose it is an exam whereby we have to do the work as a multiple choice questions in the form, then we can mark by using pen or pencils, and that form will be scanned and read by using the OMR technology. OCR can read characters printed by computer printers, cash registers, adding machines, and typewriters, and can also read handwritten documents. So, OCR or optical character recognition reads and converts the typed, printed, or handwritten documents or handwritten characters into a computer understandable form so that the computer can manipulate it. So now let us have a look about the output devices. The device that receives data from a computer system. Now, keep in mind that we are receiving data from a computer system using output devices. Output devices are the instruments of interpretation and communications between human and computer. Some of the examples are monitor, projector, headphone, speaker, printer, and so on. These devices take machine code output results from the processor and convert them into the form that can be used by people or a machine input in another processing cycle. Monitor. The computer screen or monitor or VDU, which is a visual display unit, shows how the computer communicates with us. So it is the monitor that displays instructions that is being sent by the user to the computer, and the information and results from the computer back to us. Suppose we are typing anything using a keyboard, it will be displayed in the monitor. A printer is an output device that produces text and graphics on a physical medium such as paper. So if we want to take printout of anything that we want, we can use a printer and print the text or the graphics on a physical medium such as a paper. Speakers are the common output devices used to produce audio output that can be heard by the listener. So speakers are one of the most common output devices used with computer system. Some speakers are designed to work specifically with the computers, while others can be hooked up to another type of sound system. Speakers receive audio information from devices such as a computer and convert the electromagnetic waves into sound waves so that it can be heard by the listener. Thank you for watching, and we will meet again in the next video.